は何ですか？こんにちは。今日は interrogative sentence asking questions with question words を勉強しましょう。Please note that there are two types of question sentences. Number one is a yes-no question sentence, and then we studied this type of question sentence in episode 15. Number two is an information question sentence, and this is what we're going to study today. It's a question sentence with a question word. Let me do a quick recap from episode 15 where we studied yes-no question sentence. You had a statement and you add ka at the end of a sentence to turn it into a question sentence. And for those yes-no question sentences, you have to say yes or no in your response. In today's lesson, we will have an interrogative sentence with the question word. And the sentence structure will be X wa question word desu ka. Now, this question word could be any type of question words, but this statement with question word plus ka will turn into an information question sentence. So, for those question sentences, you do not need to say yes or no, but rather you want to give the direct information as an answer. And just like English, we have many question words in Japanese. Let me introduce them to you. Nani, what? Dare, who? Doko, where? Dare no, whose? Itsu, when? Naze, why? Dore, which? Donna, how? Now, today, we are going to focus on this question word, what, and then use it in a sentence. This question word, what, has two pronunciations in Japanese, either nani or nan, and they change the pronunciation depending on what word comes after the question word. Nani is used before a particle, and nan is used before des and counters. So a question word nani is used before particle in a sentence, and so far you have become familiar with the particle wa, and it's the one we use to mark the topic in a sentence. By the way, did you catch a phrase nani wa nan desu ka that I mentioned at the start of this video with the thumbnail? It's a kind of a quirky phrase that translates to what is what? What is nani? So you see nani means what? And now here's something interesting. Typically when we chat, the speaker already knows what he or she is going to talk about. So using a question word like nani with what is pretty unusual. It's not something you'd say in a regular conversation unless you're going for a funny or puzzling question like what is what? So remember, pairing a question word with what isn't common, but it's a fun exception to keep in mind. So the same question word, what, when it is pronounced as nan, it is used immediately before des, like nan desu ka, or immediately before counters. We have already studied some counters, like time counter, school year counter. So let's take a look at those examples first. And there's one exception where this word is still pronounced as nani with counter. And I'll talk about that too. Let's start with the counter to tell a time. The counter for time is ji. And you don't have to change the word order of a sentence to form an information question. All you have to do is to use the question word, such as none, where you need the information. So, none, question word, plus the counter ji, desu ka, nanji desu ka means what time is it? And of course, you need the hiragana ka at the end as a question marker. So, nanji desu ka? Please respond. Tell me the time by looking at this clock. そうです。1時です。Now it's your turn. Please ask me a time for this watch. 4時です。はい、ask me again for 9 o'clock. はい、9時です。9時です。And do you remember the counter to tell the grade or year in school? はい、そうです。So, 年生 is the counter. So ask me the question, which year am I in school? 何年生ですか? そうです。And then, if you're first year student, you can say 1年生です。Let's remember the counter for age. It is 歳。歳. 1 year old is 1歳. 2 years old is 2歳. 3 years old, 3歳. Okay, ask me a question. How old are you? How do you ask that question? The question sentence will be 何歳ですか?何歳ですか?いいですね。Now, when you tell your age, be careful about the pronunciation. 1 year old is 1歳, not 1歳. So there's some pronunciation change depending on what number you say with the counter sai. So please practice how to tell the age correctly. And the counter for people is nin. But again, you have to be careful for the first two people. One person, we have a special name for it, and we say hitori. We don't say ichinin. Two people is futari, not ninin. But three people, you say the number and nin, like sannin. 4 people, yonin. And then 5 people will be gonin. Okay, so ask me how many people. The answer is 何人ですか?何人ですか? The counter for nationality is jin. So you have the country name and add jin to refer to the person from the country. Japanese is Nihonjin. American is Amerikajin. Chinese, 中国人. Mexican is Mexicojin, and so on. Now, please ask me about my nationality. So, what is your question? This is the one that's exception. You have to use the pronunciation of Nani with this counter jin. So the correct question sentence is Nani jin desu ka? Nani jin desu ka? And if you're an American, you say アメリカ人です. Let's practice a question sentence with none, but without counters this time. So the sentence structure will be X は何ですか? And its literal translation will be as for X, what is it? So if you want to ask somebody's name, then you should say 名前は何ですか? So please create a question sentence to ask, what is your major? ここは何ですか? And how about the phone number? The word for phone number is 電話番号. Ask me, what is my phone number? そうです。電話番号は何ですか? いいですね。With this sentence structure, X は何ですか? You can actually replace this question word, what, to any other question word. For example, if you want to say, whose coffee? Whose coffee is this? コーヒーは誰のですか? And then I can say, あ、私のコーヒーです。You can also ask about when the trip takes place. トリップはいつですか? Let's ask where the bathroom is. バスルームはどこですか? Let's ask about 田中さん. Who is 田中さん? 田中さんは誰ですか? As you learn more particles, rather than just topic marker は and more verbs, then you'll be able to make question sentence like, what do you eat? What do you drink? Or what do you see? Where do you go? All of that will come later with more vocabulary. When asking names and ages, you don't want to be rude. So it's a good idea to add this polite marker o in front of the word 名前 and then say お名前は何ですか? You can make it shorter and then say お名前は and that's politer than asking directly 名前は何ですか? But today, I want you to remember this phrase. It is 失礼ですが and it means excuse me but. So let's remember this phrase and then add this phrase to this question. Okay, so please repeat after me twice. 失礼ですが、お名前は何ですか? 失礼ですが、お名前は何ですか? Yes, that's a very polite way to ask somebody's name. Let's practice how to ask ages in a polite way as well. 何歳ですか is a polite expression, but when asking someone of higher status, it's more polite to ask おいくつですか? In my episode number 14, I talked about Japanese origin numbers, and the word いくつ is a question word to ask how many, and it applies for ages as well. And adding o will make this whole sentence more polite. So おいくつですか is a very good way to ask ages, but again, you can add this phrase and then ask ages. So let's practice. Please repeat after me twice. 失礼ですが、おいくつですか? 失礼ですが、おいくつですか? That's a very good way to ask ages to elderly people. You can also use this word, 年, which is age, and add o here, and then say お年は or お年はおいくつですか? You can combine these two phrases to ask ages politely as well. Now lastly, before I let you go, I want you to create question sentences with a question word. Let's pretend that you received all of these responses, and I'd like you to ask a question for these answers. So let's say you get a response as 田中さんは18歳です。What question did you ask? Please ask me. そうです。田中さんは何歳ですか? Good job. How about next one? 鈴木さんは2年生です。What question did you ask me? 鈴木さんは何年生ですか? いいですね。How about this one? 専攻は歴史です。Ask me a question. そうです。専攻は何ですか? はい、いいですね。So today we studied how to make question sentences with question word, and we put focus on the question word Nani. Now, as I said earlier, the more particles and verbs you learn, more sentences you can create with different question words. So look forward to upcoming lessons. We'll cover all of that and more. はい、頑張ってください。さよなら。